Hey fishing friends, JC here with Rad Reeling Fishing. Hey, in this video I'm going to go through the 3 knots that I use to attach my braid main line to my leader line. The first knot is going to be the quickest and the easiest knot to tie, but it's also the weakest knot. The next one's going to be a little bit stronger, which is going to be the Uni to Uni knot, and then the final knot is going to be the FG knot. And I have a new way that I kind of finish off that knot from when I did the FG tutorial quite some time ago. There are a lot of different ways that people finish that knot off. So the FG knot is definitely going to be the knot that takes the longest, and it will be the strongest. There's 3 knots I'm going to go through in this video, and I'm going to explain the different situations when I use these particular knots. The fastest one, the one that takes a little bit longer, and then the one that takes the longest. So let's get going with this knot tying adventure. Okay, for the knots that I'm going to be tying today, I'm using 50-pound test braid for the main line, and I have 80-pound test monofilament for the leader line. All right, guys, so this first knot is going to be the quickest knot, but the weakest knot. And I would use this knot if I'm just out like fishing for Spanish mackerel with, you know, say like 12 or 15-pound test main line, and then like 50 or 80-pound test leader line. If I was fishing for Spanish mackerel or like bluefish, it's just a quick knot to tie, and you don't have to have a really super long leader when you're fishing for those types of fish. If I got into a bunch of ladyfish and I needed to like retie my leader to my main line really fast, I would also use this knot. So this is just, it's a knot that doesn't, you're not like catching big trophy fish when you're using this knot, okay? You're just out having a lot of fun and you're catching a bunch of fish. So let's get on with the tutorial for knot number 1. Okay, so the first knot is actually the weakest of the 3 knots, and it's also the fastest knot to tie. So here we go. We put the 2 tag ends together of the main line and the leader line like that. Pull back like this. You're going to do an overhand knot. So you're just creating that loop with the 2 lines. And then you got your 2 tag ends here. You're going to bring them through that loop 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a little saliva on there. You always put saliva on your knots. Lubrication. Hold on to the tag ends and the main line and pull that knot tight. Sometimes you'll get a little loop in it like that. You'll have to take your main line and pull it. That'll pull that down tight like that. Once you tighten that knot holding the tag ends and the main line, you're going to separate them and grab a hold of your braid and your leader line with the knot in the middle and just pull that down nice and tight like that. Like I said, this is the weakest of the 3 knots, but it's also the fastest. But yeah, it's a quick knot. And then you can cut these tag ends really close on this. This knot does not slip. Once you've got it cinched down really good, that locks in. But you can see it's a pretty fat knot, okay? So this is not the type of knot that's going to go through your fishing eyes. You know, you're going to have a short leader about, you know, 3.5, 4 feet long when you're using this knot. All right, that's knot number 1.
Oh yeah, oh good fish, good fish, nice. Good fish, oh yeah, there we go. That's a good one right there. Oh man, what a fish.
All right, so this next knot is the Uni to Uni knot, and yeah, if you're a beginner fisherman, maybe you haven't heard of that term, and maybe this is the first time, or maybe you've heard of it before and you already know how to tie that knot. Well, the Uni to Uni knot is a really a very strong knot, and it works well when you need to have a longer leader line and the knot is going to actually go through the eyes of your fishing rod. Okay, the first knot that we went through, you're just going to use that for like a 3-foot long leader. You're not going to reel that all the way up into your fishing eyes, but this knot, you can reel this one up into your fishing eyes. So this is going to be the Uni to Uni knot. It is a very strong knot. It's It's quicker than the FG knot. Now, when I went fishing with Sam and Josh and Ben, we went snook fishing. They took me to that hot spot. We caught a bunch of snook over a couple days of fishing. And when I got there, Sam told me, he said, JC, we use a uni to uni knot when we retie. It just takes too long to mess around with an FG knot because there's a lot of rocks and we get broke off, and you don't want to waste time like tying a knot. Okay, so the uni to uni knot is a very strong knot. That's the second strongest knot that I tie. Okay, so let's get on with this tutorial for the uni to uni knot. Knot number 2. Okay, knot number 2. We've got our braid line here. You want to pull about 10 to 12 inches. Probably I'd say about 12 inches is the braid line. Pinch it kind of there in the middle. And then you want to pull 12 inches of your leader line the opposite direction. Pinch the two together in the middle like that. Take your braid line, the tag end, and loop it around. Create a loop around both of those lines right there. And then once you've created that loop, you want to bring your tag end to your braid through that loop 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping those 2 lines tight in your fingers over here. You're going to have to keep your monofilament or your leader line tight in your fingers here as you cinch this little uni knot down with the braid. And you just pull that down gently. You don't pull it down like super tight. Just tighten it up a little bit so it'll slide on that leader line. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the monofilament. Create that loop in the monofilament. You come through 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever works for you. Okay? And you're going to pull that monofilament tight onto the braid, pulling those coils up nice and tight. Not nice and tight, just tight. And you can also just kind of push the knot together like that. Once you have the uni knot tied with your leading material and the uni knot tied with your braid, grab the main leader line and the main braid line and pull those 2 knots together in the middle like that. Cinch them down tight. Grab that braid main line, grab the leader line, and just pull those 2 knots together really tight. Remember, you're always using saliva as lubrication on all of your knots when you're cinching things down. Pull that up really nice and tight, and then just cut those tag ends off close on that knot. So this is a fast knot to tie, and it's stronger than the first knot that I showed you, but it's not going to be as strong as the FG knot. So that's your uni to uni knot there. Okay guys, and then the third knot that I use is the FG knot. This is the strongest, but it's the one that takes the longest. Make sure that you just, keep some monofilament and braid around the house. And you can practice this knot, man, when you're just sitting around, you're watching TV or whatever, just practice this knot until you get really, really good and fast at tying this knot, okay? I tie this knot a lot when I'm out fishing for snook and bigger fish, okay? This is my go-to knot, and if I'm hanging out around the house and I'm getting prepared to go fishing, I take like the extra steps to make this knot super, super secure. So let's take a look at tying this FG knot. All right, so let's do the easy way to tie the FG knot. I've improved this method a little bit from the way I originally did the tutorial video. I just changed the way that I finish it off. Okay, so you want to pinch your leader line here. Take your braid, get about 10 to 12 inches on your tag end, and lay that braid right across the top of your leader line, creating a cross like that. Now you want to take your main braid line, go underneath the leader line, wrap it around coming up over the top, and then pull it back into your fingers where you're pinching. Just pull that up tight like that. Then take your tag end and you're going to do the same. Take your tag end and do the same thing. Go underneath and over the top like that, pulling it back tight into where your fingers are pinched. And you're going to do the main line again, under and over the top, tag end under and over the top, main line under and over the top, tag end under and over the top. And every time I'm doing this, I'm pulling those lines tight into my finger, which pulls those wraps and coils up tight, keeps them up tight together. Okay, so that's 3 times, and we're going to do this 10 times with each one. 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. So you got those pulled up 10 times. See, those coils are nice and tight on that FG knot. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it down towards the long part of the leader, giving me a little bit more on the tag end to grab a hold of. Okay, now I grab these 2 lines together like this, and I've got my tag end and my braid. And the way I started finishing off this FG knot, somebody's made a recommendation or a suggestion of just finishing that off with a uni. So I do a 4 wrap uni here, just to keep the knot from being like too big. 1, and it works fine. 2, 3, 4. I used to use hitch knots, but the uni holds better. I put the tag into my mouth, and then I pull everything up tight. Pull tight, tight, tight. Pull everything tight. There. All right, now the next step, I put on gloves. If I don't have gloves, I do the best I can to cinch this down as tight as I can possibly get it. Now the FG knot is the strongest of these 3 knots. And yeah, I just get out the gloves, and I use the gloves to just cinch this knot down like really, really tight. And the idea here is to get these coils locked into your leader material really, really good with that knot. Once you've pulled that down, cinched it down super, super tight, okay, the braid, what happens is braid coils lock into that monofilament or the fluorocarbon. And yeah, I don't like spare anything on this, okay? I mean, I am locking this thing down tight, 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 because I'm fishing for big fish when I'm using this knot. It's the strongest of these knots, so I don't want that thing to come apart. All right, now, if I'm just hanging out around the house and I've got the extra time, usually what I'll do is I'll take that tag in a monofilament, I'll cut it off, and I'll leave, I would say about a 1/16 of an inch on there. I take a lighter, I heat that end up, burn that thing down like that, creates a little ball on there, and then I flatten that out a little bit, because you don't want that thing to be too fat, but you want it to create a ball. I got a little extra mono on there. Get that off of there. Oh, it's all stretchy now. Let's heat that up again. Shouldn't have, I pulled it too soon. There we go. Creating that ball on there. I just flatten that out a little bit. You don't want it to be too big because it's going to get caught in the eyes of your fishing pole. And you can see that knot is like right down there. That little ball is right down there on the braid. The braided line, you can take that and cut it close. All right, that's cut nice and close. So yeah, when I'm hanging out around the house, I will melt that end. It just adds some extra security there. But then the third thing that I do is I put a little super glue on there. Starting to keep super glue in my backpack. And just a drop of super glue on that knot. you can take your tag end on the braid. You can lay that braid down. That super glue, of course you're going to get it on your fingers, but that's all right. And that super glue is going to be like your triple insurance. You got the Uni Knot that locks down good. You got the little ball. A little bit of super glue on there is going to give you that extra insurance. Now I don't always have a lighter with me when I'm out in the, out fishing, but I generally always have the super glue. So I just cut that tag end really close on the leader line and on the braid, and then I just super glue it up really good to make sure that thing's not going to come apart. And I have not had any problems with my FG knot coming apart. So that's knot number 3.
Whoa, God. This thing's, oh my God.
Okay guys, well that's the 3 knots that I used to attach my braid to my monofilament or my fluorocarbon leader. You go out there and research your knots and decide which knots are going to work best for the situation that you're in. Do your research. There's lots of tutorials on knots. These are the knots that worked for me, and I have a tendency to catch a lot of big fish, you guys. So hey, thanks for watching this video. Thumbs up are appreciated, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I upload videos all the time, and everyone, make sure you click that bell icon and set your notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching. Get out there and go fishing. See ya!